Hi everyone. Um, I am coming in for another story time. This is the last one for this week. And so, I wanted to keep things a little light. So if you're not following me on Instagram, you can follow me at Laquanda. So let's get into it. So I had got a message from someone who had asked me a question, and the question was like, "Are you in the field of mental health?" And they just realized that I was in the field of mental health. So just for clarification for everyone, I am a mental health professional. I am a therapist. I have been in the field of mental health for 15 years. So, even though I talk a lot about my personal experiences, I am also a mental health professional. I am also a certified life coach, and I am also a Reiki 2 practitioner. So, I have an array of experiences. So, a part of this experience led me to have certain positions in life. And one of the positions that I held, I don't know if y'all are familiar, but there's a national organization called Mental Health America. I was the director of outreach for the National Office of Mental Health America. And so, in that role, I was able to do a lot of things, a lot of advocacy in terms of mental health that I absolutely loved. Um, and one of the things that I had to do, probably one of the most rewarding conversations I ever had, um, dealt with Linkin Park. And so this is how the story happened. I worked in partnerships. And so one day we either got an email or a call about someone wanting to connect with Mental Health America and find out some more information. And so I was the person that took the initial call, and the lady came on the phone, and I was talking to her. She was saying that she was a representative of someone. And while I was on the phone, she was like, "I would like to introduce you to Talinda." And when she said Talinda, my eyes like lit open, and she was talking about Talinda, the widow of Chester, who was the lead singer of Linkin Park. And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And so was the conversation where they were in the beginning of talks, where Talinda wanted to start something. She wanted to do something in regards to mental health after Chester had passed away, due to mental health and suicide. And so what happened at this point, my mind is blown. My mind is completely blown that I'm about to have a conversation with the wife of someone whose group had um, kept me through my darkest hours. When I tell you, it was nights where I felt like my heart was bleeding, and Linkin Park pulled me through. Listening to Linkin Park would pull me through some of the darkest nights that I've ever had and ever experienced in my life. And so, I began to share with her things about the organization, but also about how mental health is presented and things of that nature. And that led to a larger meeting with with other organizations. And the larger meeting was when other members of Lincoln Park were actually on the call as well. And so it was a very humbling experience, because a lot of you don't know. Um, I I speak a lot about mental health. Obviously, if you follow me on YouTube, you know that I speak a lot about mental health, but I'm actually a national mental health speaker. I've spoken at the National Office of Human Rights Campaign, that's HRC. I've spoken with Austin Black Pride, with Kaiser Permanente, the EPA, my local county governments, local churches. But I have talk shows. I've driven around the country and been on talk shows in terms of, and to talk about mental health. And so my voice in terms of mental health, it stands beyond what I do here on YouTube. And for those, some of you may know, last year I collaborated with the company Eventbrite, and I did a wellness, a conversation about wellness and mental wellness with them last year during Pride. And so I have a very extensive speaker's background, and a lot of that I owe to being able to come here on YouTube and share my personal journey, and that led to me doing advocacy on my own, which allowed me to do greater things. And so getting back to the topic, and so in that conversation, I was able to, really share mental health from the organization's perspective as well as my perspective. And the organization that they ended up founding, that Talinda co-founded, was 320 Changes Direction, and 320 is Chester's birthday. And so that conversation, she had ended up partnering with, I think it's the organizations Given Our Hour and the Crisis Text Line. Those were the two organizations that they ended up partnering with, and they founded the nonprofit 320 Changes Direction. And it was, that experience for me was like the universe coming back to me so many years, like 10 years later, and saying, I want you to always remember where I brought you from. And when you think about having thoughts of harming yourself and listening to music that is pulling you through that, or just for me, Linkin Park was so important because I felt like through that music, the pain that I was experiencing was being related to, and that I could connect with it. And it would just pull me through those dark moments, because it was like I could feel when Chester would sing. I could feel the music, and it was so, it's such a it's unexplainable. It's an unexplainable connection. It's a difference. And I mentioned this on Instagram. It's a difference between when you need therapy and when you need someone to connect with what you're going through. And for me, when it came to Linkin Park, I felt like their music connected with what I was going through, because I don't always want to talk to a professional about what's going on with me. Sometimes I want to talk to people who know what the fuck it feels like to feel the way that I'm feeling. That's who I want to be in front of. And, and not in a therapeutic group session that's led by a therapist. That's not, what I need. Most of the time, that's not what I need. And so, being able to be in that space where the information the information or the energy that I was getting, the vibrations that I was getting, was a reflection of the inside of me, meant everything to me. And And not a lot of people get to experience that. Just think about the song that pulled you through, or think about the song that encouraged you, and having the opportunity to speak to people who are connected to the artist, or speak to the artist themselves about something that you're passionate about, and see how that resonates with you. It takes it to a whole nother level. And I got to experience that. And in that initial call, I had never felt more. I couldn't in no way imagine the pain that Talinda was experiencing, but I so admired that she was utilizing the experience of losing her husband to try to ensure that no one else, that the next person is safe. And being on that call with her that day, really, I wouldn't care if she never remembered it, but it's something that I remembered. And then being able to be on a call later with actual members of the group was an experience that I will never forget. Um, I would have to say, to that point, it was the highlight of one of the highlights of my career, because thus far, because you never forget those darkest moments in your life, and you never forget what got you through them and what helped you make it to the other side. And for me, so many times when I felt lost, I was able to find a guiding light through the night, by listening and crying to Linkin Park. Even now, as I navigate new spaces, I'm out there on roller skates, um, blasting Linkin Park, getting through frustrations and getting things out of my system, and feeling that connection again, and remembering the space that I am in and where I'm no longer at. So for anyone who is experiencing certain feelings, music is such a it's beyond a healer. I think music sometimes is that lifeline that pulls you from the water and brings you into the shore, to give you another opportunity to go back out and swim again when you're ready. And I think so many times in my life I was drowning, and Lincoln Park was that lifeline that was out in the water, thrown out in the water, and pulled me into shore until I was strong enough to go back out and swim again. And so I will forever be grateful, for that little light in my career, where I got to speak to people who were connected to, and people who were in the group, that helped save my life many times. So that's all I have on that. Char Thrilla and I are going to be talking about long distance relationships tomorrow. Next week, I want y'all to be prepared. We are going to go heavy, because I'm going to talk about suicidal ideation some days next week. I'm going to keep them light so it's not heavy every day, but I did want to do a video specifically about suicidal thoughts. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and I will check y'all later. Bye.